I would like to invite the former president of TiE Rajasthan and the co-founder of Rain, Mr. Manuj Goyal. He is the man who started SmashUp in Rajasthan, and many of you have been actually very lucky to be mentored by him, right? So Manuj is the managing director of Pink City Jewel House, where they produce high-quality jewelry using genuine colored gemstones and diamonds for major brands, e-commerce and large format retailers in US and Europe. So ladies and gentlemen, please throw some more love with those smushy nice balls for Mr. Manuj Goyal. Harder!
Thank you guys, thank you. And a warm welcome this morning. So, आज Unconference है, right? So, we all want to really find out about how Sahil did it, his story, so that you can also be inspired. He's sort of like, he was like one of you. You could be like him tomorrow or day after, and all it takes is the right decision making. And we'll try to learn from Sahil this morning. His journey and the pivotal points and what made him such a huge success. The acquisition with Swiggy, and how you could do it too. So with this, Sahil, I know you were in the US and very successful at what you were doing there. What made you think of Thailand?
So, I don't know, as a kid, I come from a business family, Sahil, Jain, Jain, कुछ बात चली थी. तो बचपन से there was this कीड़ा, right, that I have to start something, and my dad would also keep saying, you eventually have to do something. Like, he didn't have a business, right, like a manufacturing business होता है, तो business family से I wasn't from that family, right. So I always wanted to figure out कि कुछ तो start करेंगे, right. And I did my engineering, MBA, and we are a group of 4 co-founders, right. And the story is that 4 of us go back a long way. We know each other since we were 5-year-olds. So 30 साल से जानते थे, जानते हैं अभी, right? And when we passed out of 12th, we went our separate ways, etc. But we would always keep talking to figure out कि क्या करना है, कैसे करना है. My other co-founder was in UK, I was in US, and we obviously love to dine out, right? हम लोग जाते थे बाहर, मतलब इंडिया आते थे, दिल्ली में जाते थे, but वही same 3-4 जगह पे चले गए, not figuring out कि कहाँ जाना है, discovering the restaurant was very difficult. And we experienced products in US, right, like open table and stuff, and we realized that this is something which will eventually catch up in India as India sort of grows, as tech comes to India, and so on and so forth, right. So जब हम in 2011 when we came back, we were just generally having a good evening, and we thought कि यार why don't we start this, right? Me and Ankit got talking, and we were like कि ये करते हैं. And one day he called me from UK saying, let's plan this out. And within a month, I quit my job and I moved back to India. And I was like, chalo, let's start. And he was shocked. He was still in UK. He had to move back. And I was like, I'm just going to start working on this. You come back when you can. He had to get his some visa things sorted and all. So this was something which we felt is something that will truly change India. And there is a huge market for this. And that's how we sort of arrived at it. And it took us about a year. And then we finally launched in 2012. But एक साल हम लोग ने figure out किया कि कैसे करना है, and that was like 2011 was very different than today, right? I mean, I came back and I told my parents कि I'm going to do a startup. That was not something which was very well, people understood what startups are then, right? And I was like, 26 that time, and my parents were like, सी जल्दी शादी करवा देते हैं. I don't know what's going to happen. This guy saying कि something कुछ करेगा, job अपना छोड़ के आ गया, कुछ startup करना है, इससे पहले कुछ वो शादी करवा देते हैं. So that is how the journey started. So yeah, it was an interesting start that we had in 2012.
So first bit of advice to all the startups out here, कि पहले शादी करनी चाहिए कि पहले पैसा लेना चाहिए?
I think it was something like, today I tell people take at least 2 years, right, before you get married. मतलब startup करते शादी मत कर लेना, because you need to give that business like 2 years at least to set it up before you actually get married, right? So I think that is something which I would recommend for everyone, yeah, for sure.
So what was the opening capital that you guys started with, and you were 26. क्या startup capital थी? And वो कितने time चली? I mean, you know, this is like everyone's pain here.
हाँ, नहीं उस time मतलब we took a capital of about 20 odd lakhs. We were in decent jobs, right? I was in US, Ankit was in UK, so we did have some capital. So we said we put in some money to start with. But what happened for us is that within the first 6 months, we got so much user love that one of our users, he reached out to us on our call center and said, I want to meet you guys and want to invest in you, right? So, Outpush, Niravan and Gaurav Bhatnagar from TBO, they were our first investors. And they sort of reached out to us and later
And you didn't know them?
We didn't know, actually. Once we met him, then we realized that it was a random call on the call center. They said, let's catch up. And then when we met, then we realized that Ankush was a senior from school, right? So we were all from modern school, Vasant Vihar, and he was like a 5-year senior from modern school. And we figured out that okay, we're from the same thing, and we were their first investment as well, right? So they were growing big, and we were actually the first sort of investment. And we were like, yeah, but at that time, हमें कुछ पता नहीं था, like how does this work? Someone was offering us money, they were take equity. Yeah, so I think a lot of learnings though in terms of understanding how to structure these sort of deals. We made some mistakes, figured out. I think they made some. So I think a lot of learning has gone into sort of building this over the last 10 years. And that is the reason why over the last 4-5 years we wanted to sort of give it back to the community, mentor startups, invest in them, and guide them through that initial 1-2 years when they don't know how to sort of think about the problem, think about the overall sort of systems, right, and ensure they don't make those silly mistakes that we made, right?
So एक क्या ज्ञान मिला देखो सबको. Your customer could be an investor too, right? So later on, he found a connect, but he was a extremely satisfied customer in the first place. So your money can come from you don't even know which source. So that's a great, I think, accomplishment of what you were doing as well, right? I mean, he was so happy that he called you and raised for money. So
yeah, I think so. Like the second time also, like when time sort of came in, we actually hadn't gone to ask money for them. We were looking to go and partner with them, right? They had a product called TiE City. We said कि आप सब partner करते हैं, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे, 4 चीजें. And then suddenly a week later, Mithien comes back and says कि यार हम invest करते हैं, हम खरीद लेंगे.
Wow, amazing.
Like, so that was how that also happened.
So tell us a bit about TiE itself. That's your second round, and what happened and how easy or difficult it was to sort of get the money from maybe a strategic investor. Would you call that?
Yeah. So actually the story goes back a little. So basically 2012 is when we started, and 2012 to 14, those 2 years were we scaled up, but they were kind of difficult, right? So we were out there in the market to raise some funding, and I think 2013 and early 2014 the market had completely dried up, right? And there was no funding available, and we thought that our first round, the angel round, was also getting over, and we were wondering how to sort of sustain. Do we put in our own money? How do we sort of take it forward? And it was our first time, right? We didn't understand. That time we got a couple of offers, but they were not too good. They were taking a massive amount of equity for a very small sum. And then this time thing happened, and we thought that, okay, this is going to be good. It's a large investor who can bring in a lot of distribution for us, right? So distribution is the biggest challenge for any startup, right? We've got millions of readers digitally, offline. We felt we could really scale fast, and let's do this deal, right? And we did that deal. We joined Times in April 2014, right? Then he came in May 2014, and the world changed. Like the next 1 year was crazy. Like, I mean, people were getting money left, right, and center. A person would come and just say, I'm from IIT, and he would raise $1 million. Random companies which pre-revenue, there was nothing happening. They were raising money like crazy, and we were like, did we go wrong over here, right? In terms of we couldn't sort of wait for that 6 months extra अगर रुक जाते तो शायद और कुछ हो पाता. But then when I think about it now, I think it's a journey, right? I think you don't know what would have happened there. Here also we've had a great journey, and you always keep thinking that aisa hota, it could have been better for me. But what I believe now is that whatever we've gone through, right, I think it's for the good. We've gone through a certain phase, we've learned a lot, and you don't know what could have been challenges in the other round that could have happened, right? So, and you know, there is so much time ahead where you can do a lot more. So I just feel that we should not repent. That's another learning, that I made this wrong decision. Should I repent on this? Where I'm thinking कि यार और हो जाता, मैं unicorn बन सकता था, I missed the bus. That is a feeling that you get, but I think people should not think about it, right? They should go through that journey. And you know, sometimes when on cricket, when I used to hear this guy Dhoni say, it's not about winning, it's a process in the journey, right? And now I can relate to what he was actually saying, because abhi ye sab karke now we've gotten acquired, and then you just sit back and think, is this what I was doing, like working for, right? I've gotten acquired, right? Well, let's say the more interesting part was the entire 10-year journey, where you've reached what you've done, you've networked, you've met people, you've mentored people, you've learned from people. I think that is more interesting. Like, my life has not changed, right? I mean, the last 2 months, after that, it's the same thing, nothing has changed for me, right? So I think you're just continuing it, it's just a path, right? So I think that's one learning that I definitely want to share with everyone.
So what's the advice, you know, when you do get a strategic investor, and you mentioned, you know, sometimes you have to pick a deal which you're not very happy with. What's the advice to all the entrepreneurs here when it comes to valuation? Once they find a suitable partner, a potential who wants to invest in them, what's your advice? How do you really, because as an investor, as an entrepreneur, you're passionate and you don't want to get shortchanged. You know, what's your advice to the folks out here? How do you value yourself and learn to sort of live with what you get?
Yeah, so I think it is a bit contextual, right? Depending on which sort of industry you're in, you know, a strategic investor could be really useful as well to help you scale. Whereas for some sort of other sort of industries, it might be a bit more difficult, where you need more growth capital to move faster. Right? So I think if it is, at least what I believe is that if it is something which is more innovative, where you're doing something completely out of whack, something which is, you know, a bit ahead of its time, which people are not thinking about today, there getting any sort of strategic money might be sort of difficult, right? Because people are not able to relate to that sort of growth or that creativity that you're sort of looking at, right? Whereas if it's a more traditional path where you're going, right, where it's an existing industry that you're looking to disrupt, maybe, right? Maybe it could be, you know, so for example, fintech, right? That's the buzzword today, right? In my mind, if people are trying to do a lot of things around fintech now, you could potentially go and get money from a strategic guy, right? Like a bank, right? Like an HDFC bank or ICICI. So now, like at least my experience says that these guys are a little bit more conservative, right? And getting money from them could be a little bit more detrimental rather than beneficial in terms of, even if, and their valuation will be lower for sure. So in those cases, I would not sort of say you take strategic money, but then again, it comes down to the why, right? If you're completely out, you don't have any other option, you're living with that, it's better to take that and live another day rather than shut it down, right? Unless you've got another idea, you would say that, hey, I just want to shut this down and start something new. It's not working out, right? So if you go with that never give up theory, then you at least need to survive, right? So then in that situation, you obviously need to take what it comes and believe that over time you'll be able to fix it, right? Or be able to sort of turn it around because of your confidence and potential that you've seen that business, right? So,
yeah, great. So Sahil, you know, one more key question, and I'm sure this has happened to a lot of you folks. You know, things are not moving as good as you wanted it to be, and you know, you have an investor or potential investor, and he has a different viewpoint, and he wants you to pivot your idea, and where, you know, you want to focus like a bullseye. There's somebody with money or more power or some more experience advising you to pivot, and you don't want to. आपके साथ कभी कुछ ऐसा हुआ, and what is the learning there? What would you like to share? You know, because on one side you got to be, you know, looking at a bullseye, and one side you got to be dynamic enough to change and adapt. So what's the? I know there's no clear answer. आपके साथ क्या situation we went? How did you face this problem when, and how did you deal with it?
right. No, see, the thing is that one thing is that I recommend everyone is to listen to people very carefully, right? So if a starter or a mentor is sort of talking about his experience or giving you advice, I think there is always some bit of learning that you can grasp from that, right? It may not be 100% applicable, but you can probably take 20-30% of that or 40% of that and apply it to your situation and improve that situation, right? You just need to figure out what is right that you need to sort of absorb. Because, see, there are folks out there who are more experienced than you, they've seen the world better, they know what things are happening, right? So there are some things like, one of our Time CEO, he said that you don't know what you don't know, right? It's like you can say that, I don't care about this, but then the other guy is saying something, he knows something, you got to listen to it and at least take some process out of it, like some out of it. But on the other hand, like I said, right, if there's something new, right, like some blue ocean thing that you're thinking about, which you genuinely believe can grow, it's a gut feeling, that is something that you need to back yourself with, right? So one example at Dine Out that we had is that we pivoted, right? We were a reservations platform up till 2017, right? 18, 19, we moved from, and we took that understanding and said that, hey, this is not the right market for reservations, this is not something which will scale up. It is a good to have, it is an add-on, but we need to do something more, and we said that payments is something that will scale up in India, and that is where we need to get into. And we launched Dine Out Payment, and that is our key product today. Like, at that point in time, no one believed that this is something which is going to work. Even within the company, between founders, we had a discussion, we disagreed and committed to it, that okay, let's build this out. But there were folks all around who were like, this does not make sense, you should not be doing it. But we understood the market and we believe that this is something which will change in India over time. And it worked out, right? So there are these instances where, okay, there were things around operational efficiency where we didn't understand so much, and there were more stronger people out there who gave us advice, and we took those and fixed that in our business. But then there were other things which were more on the product side, which a little ahead, where we sort of backed ourselves as well, right? So you need to choose where you need to, take that advice and where you need to sort of follow your sort of confidence or that feeling that you have.
And so how did Swiggy happen?
How did Swiggy happen? So I think we had always been talking, right? So it was always a natural fit. Since 2019, 20, I think there were always conversations on and off. They had some doubts on the market, how it will grow, how it's going to pan out. We never had that doubt. COVID happened. Again, there were doubts. Like for 3 months, we were shut, right? So March 2020 to June 2020, there were businesses which were running at maybe 10% or 20%. We were at zero because deliveries to whole thing, but restaurants banned. So our teams were sitting at home and we were wondering what's going to happen. Like restaurants are shut. What is it even going to come back up again? Our teams were asking, and then we said, let's figure out what else we can do. Right? We started looking at B2B stuff, SaaS. Software, we have interest on other platforms, we said we'll scale that up, that's something that will scale up and so on and so forth, right? But post wave one, I think people came out with vengeance, right? I think in 3 months we were back to 100% and we were like, okay, what's happening, this can grow, right? We were growing.
India story में विश्वास होना चाहिए. India story में विश्वास.
India story में विश्वास. It was crazy, and then after that we were like growing and we were like, चलो बढ़िया चल रहा है, and then wave two happened. Oh my God, what's going to happen now? Up to again, restaurants are shut, nothing's happening. And again, right after that, we were back to 2x in 3 months after we people went out like even crazy, right? So I think the product had found its product market fit, and we knew that it can scale. I think everyone around us saw that, Swiggy could see that happening, and we had been talking, and they were trying to build something on their own, and we had obviously the 10 years of experience going in, and I think it was a natural fit, right? With delivery, dining out, that was something which was on the card, and it finally sort of happened, right?
ऑडियंस इतनी शांत बैठी है, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा आप लोगों के मन में क्या चल रहा है. एक क्वेश्चन में समझने की कोशिश करूँ आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है. I'm sure यही आ रहा होगा कि फंडिंग मिलने के बाद, एक्विजिशन के बाद स्विगी से पहला के ऑर्डर किया. स्विगी से एक्विजिशन होने के बाद सबसे पहले स्विगी पे ऑर्डर क्या किया.
अच्छा. मैंने shifted from Zomato to ordering from
Okay, fair enough. Loyalty तो होती है.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you see the road ahead? What could be Dine Out 2.0?
So, see, it's nothing is 2.2, right? It's a continuation of our journey since 2015-16. We believe that dining out is a large market, and it is. So we've been talking to investors all this while, and I've been saying that it is 2x the size of the delivery market, and nobody's sort of seen through that. So I just feel that whatever has happened on the delivery side, it should happen on the dining out side over the next 2-3 years. The scale might be a little different, but I think the market is massive, right? In terms of the GMV which is spent in India on food is crazy, right? So just to give you an example, the average ticket size for ordering is 300-400 rupees. For us, that amount on dine out is 3,000, 3,500. That's the average ticket size that people are spending. And post-COVID, it has gone up by 1.5x. I don't know what money or what's happened, but we had like a 2,000 rupee, 2,200 rupee average ticket size on dine out pre-COVID, and right now we're trending at 3,000 plus. So restaurateurs have increased their prices. The people are happy to pay. People are like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but people are sort of spending that money, and it is just going to grow over time as more and more money is coming in people's hands. And I just feel that there is a 100x opportunity, 50x opportunity in this space, and people need to start sort of noticing that and
So, बहुत ही serious हो रहा है तो, ये मतलब मैंने पूछा कि भाई what could be the dine out 2.0, ये टाई राजस्थान की टीम ने ऑलरेडी एक टैगलाइन दे दी, दावत ए इश्क. So what if maybe we can help him, टैगलाइन तो हमने दे दी, दावत ए इश्क. So if Sahil does a dating app, what could be the name? 2.0. भाई अभी रोमांटिक डिनर हो गया, सब कुछ हो गया, तो डाइन आउट की बात क्या होगा? Make out? This is a platform.
Night out.
Alright, so we've got 4 minutes left. Questions?
सुना नहीं है आपने जवाब नाइट आउट.
Night out. Night out already branded. Okay, so somebody's asking a question, Shivam, how did the pivot of the business idea take place? Can you please elaborate?
The pivot idea took place. So, see, reservations, right? It's a hard market in India. So, our model kya tha? We would say to the restaurant that we'll send you a diner and we'll charge you 50 rupees per diner. Now, what started happening is, as the business started scaling, we would send 100, 200 diners to the restaurant. So, 100, 200 into 50 is 10,000 rupees, for example, yesterday. नहीं सर आई नहीं सॉल्व तीसरी आए थे. हाँ आई नहीं, मतलब हाउ डू यू सॉर्ट ऑफ दिल्ली में कहीं भी मतलब दिल्ली इज क्रेजी, बट वो बोल रहे हैं कि आपने 100 लोग भेजे नहीं, आपने 50. लेकिन यूएस दिस प्रॉब्लम नेवर हैपेंड विद एन ओपन टेबल बिकॉज पीपल आर ऑनेस्ट और व्हाटएवर इट इज. This did not work in India. We're like, this is a massive operational expense. We set up a call center to call people and ask आप गए थे नहीं गए थे, now go back to the restaurant with data. No, 80 people came. मतलब it wasn't working out, right? And that's where we said we need to be in the middle of the transaction to ensure that the restaurant sort of the loop is closed. And that's where we said that we need to get into the payment space. And it was a very obvious shift. Like it was not something we had to think about a lot. So.
Okay, I have 2 quick questions. What were your average losses when Dine Out had those flat 50 off during the months of February, March? Shubham Verma.
We never burned any money on discounts. So either the discount was funded by the restaurant or by a banking partner, whether it's an HDFC bank or whatever. So we ourselves had like very minimal discounting policy. So as a business, we were never,
economics.
Yes, we were never burning that money. So I think we had, so again going back to the point, we never had that growth capital where we got 100, 200, 10 million. We had like a limited budget in which we had to scale the business, and we sort of figured out how to do it within that.
So this is what guys SmashUp is all about, for the startups, by the startups. Sahil is, has been like one of you with limited growth capital, everything, and still made it big. And so can you. Last question. After acquisition, do you feel like a CEO, your decision making has reduced?
No, not really. I think at least in Swiggy, like the culture is great, and I think it's been very early days. for us, and I think the team is pretty strong and they're very excited about the entire union. They've given us that independence to figure out what it requires to sort of scale that business. They know that we've got that expertise, and that's the reason why they've acquired us. So I don't see that as a challenge at all. Yeah.
So there's a question from Ravi. When you dine out, also, we all tip. What is your tip for all of us today?
The tip is that you should definitely download the Swiggy app, dine out is live on Swiggy now, and use it for all your transactions. No, the tip is, see, I think people love dining out in India, and you should, the biggest problem actually which I think we need to still solve though is around discovery of restaurants. I was talking yesterday to people that if you want to go out today, right, whether it is with your family, with your friends, with your wife, with kids, or just go and have with a corporate meal, right, it takes away like a 1 hour mental space away from you. And like since morning to evening, I'm just trying to figure out kahan jana hai, and nobody saw that problem. And I think what I look forward to is solving that problem. And hopefully we'll be using a lot of the data which we're collecting to figure out that personalization problem for users. So yeah, that's a learning for us.
Awesome. So ऐसे speaker के सामने भी you've been a fabulously boring audience, and I recommend you guys eat a coffee or a samosa. So whatever kicks your juices up, please go and have it. No, whenever the team wants you to. So thank you all. Thank you to Sahil for coming by and sharing his story.